Hello friends, I am Vitaly Portnikov. According to the Wall Street Journal, leaders of the People's Republic of China have reportedly crossed President Joseph Biden's red line regarding the war in Ukraine. Despite warnings from United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken, China continues to assist Russia, particularly its military-industrial complex. The Wall Street Journal claims that China's actions have exceeded the limits set by President Biden and that they are providing ongoing support to Russia, despite the warnings issued by Secretary of State Blinken. Blinken issued these warnings both prior to his visitation to China and during his visitation period in the country. However, it appears that the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, has made the decision to disregard these warnings. On the day when the Secretary of State of the United States was in the Chinese capital, the ministers of defense from the People's Republic of China and the Russian Federation deliberately met in Astana, making a demonstrative show of their presence and cooperation. And one of the closest associates of the chairman of the People's Republic of China, nearly at the same time in Moscow, was participating in a conversation regarding the intensification of cooperation between Moscow and Beijing in the field of intelligence activities. Therefore, it is still completely evident that establishing strategic cooperation with the Russian Federation is one of the important tasks for the leadership of China. And this remains unchanged and unquestionable. And obviously it is not just about Russia. It is about the willingness of Beijing to destabilize the Western countries wherever it can be beneficial and advantageous for its own interests and strategic goals. We have previously discussed that the meeting between the defense ministers of Russia and China took place on the exact same day when the Secretary of State of the United States was present in the capital city of China, Beijing. However, it was an official meeting that took place under the lenses of cameras, capturing every moment and ensuring an accurate record of the proceedings. And here is a meeting that was not reported, including by Antony Blinken, and which also took place on that very day. It is talks between high-ranking Chinese officials and diplomats and representatives of the terrorist organization Hamas, who arrived in the Chinese capital city for discussions regarding their respective interests and concerns related to their ongoing activities and regional dynamics. And this was an unmistakable and blatant challenge to Washington. Perhaps even a deliberate attempt to sabotage any potential resolution of the situation in the Middle East, which President Joseph Biden desperately needs in order to address the pressing issues at hand. Therefore, it is crucial to derive relatively straightforward conclusions. China will persist in providing support to its allies who are prepared to utilize their resources in opposition to the Western powers that pose a challenge to them. China is interested in the success of Russia's war with Ukraine, in the destruction of a state that is prepared to resist Russian aggression, as it demonstrates Russia's strength and influence. The defeat of Ukraine for Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping is a defeat for the West. And the more embarrassing and ultimate this defeat will be, the greater the magnitude of the joint success achieved by the Russian Federation and the People's Republic of China will become. China will work towards this success. Destabilizing the situation in the Middle East, the impossibility of ending the war between Israel and Hamas, and maintaining Hamas's leading role in Palestinian autonomy provide an opportunity for China to exert successful pressure on the situation in the region. China will make concerted efforts to achieve success in this particular issue that is of utmost importance. The upcoming fairly significant story to keep in mind is the United States being compelled to withdraw from Africa due to external pressures and circumstances. In the Sahel region, intelligence agents from Russia and military personnel from Russia are displacing their counterparts from the United States of America. Yes, this could potentially lead to chaos in the region, with the governments of countries where military coups, which are supported by the Kremlin, have occurred, being unable to effectively control large portions of their territory. But at the same time, this will also create chaos. The very chaos that the Minister of State Security of the People's Republic of China recently spoke about. Both Russia as well as China are interested in this chaos because it will help to weaken the influence of the West and the United States, which is of great importance to them. And of course, it also needs to be understood very clearly that in this chaos, both Russia and China have the capability to generate profits, substantial profits, billions of dollars. So, a relatively straightforward question arises. What steps can be taken to put an end to this ongoing trend towards China, employing chaos as a means to undermine Western democracies and safeguard their stability and sovereignty? Xi Jinping's ambition led him to find a loyal ally and assistant in Russian President Vladimir Putin, forming a strong partnership that has endured over time. The first and most important thing that needs to be done is to provide assistance to Ukraine in its conflict with the Russian Federation. In order to prevent a scenario where a neighboring state of Russia would be incorporated into Russia, thus disappearing from the political map of the world, or it will become part of the Russian sphere of influence. This is what Vladimir Putin continues to count on with the support of his Chinese friends. Thus, providing effective assistance to Ukraine and demonstrating that Russia will not have the ability to control this state are crucial in order to halt China, as it is one of the limited methods available. Hence, Ukraine's participation in NATO is an issue of utmost importance for the national security of Western countries. The possibility of Ukraine staying outside NATO until the conclusion of the war with Russia would indicate the potential for a strategic defeat of the West in its confrontation with dictatorships. And this defeat is quite possible. The same principle applies to the situation in the Middle East. Implementation of measures to destroy Hamas terrorist organization positions. Establishment of conditions to effectively filter and mitigate terrorist threats in the region. In terms of the potential for the population of the Palestinian territories to ultimately have a genuine opportunity to live in peace and refrain from embracing violence as a religious ideology, this also represents a pathway to the success of the Western nations and the strategic defeat of both China and Russia, along with their respective supporters in the West, who lack an understanding of the grave danger that Middle Eastern terrorism poses to the United States and European countries. This is yet another crucial and significant path that is closely related to the success of democracy's ongoing fight against dictatorship. Another crucial task for the West is to contain China in its endeavors to resolve the Taiwan issue through the use of force and in its efforts to destabilize the situation in the Pacific region. By combining all of these tasks, including Ukraine, Russia, the Middle East, the Pacific Ocean, and Africa, we can already observe that this is not a state on the verge of war, but rather a state in the midst of an ongoing war, making it a wartime state rather than a pre-war state. If the Western countries want to survive, they must win this war. Thank you, friends. Please stay tuned to this channel, subscribe to it, utilize the opportunities to support this channel, and good luck to all.